Morning, my name is Olufunlayo Otubi, and today I'm going to be talking about what happens or the things that are important when we're being observed or we're observing a lesson. Because this is the third term, and I'm sure the management has been observing lessons and giving feedback. First term, second term, this is the third term. The first thing is we're going to observe, has this teacher improved in her practice? All the things we've been pointing out, first term, second term, has she or he taken them on board? Is he conscious, is she conscious of improving his or her practice? So we come into the class as usual, and because the CCTV doesn't have volume, it would have been the best thing in the sense that you could just sit down at the CCTV and then do your observation. But we need to hear what is being said. We need to be able to be in the atmosphere of that classroom. So we sit inconspicuously, hopefully, and then we watch. How does this teacher welcome the children into the class? If it's a class where they come into and before they have a lesson, or if it's their classroom, how is the ambience of the class? Is the teacher welcoming? How are the class boards? How is the environment? Is it a learning environment? If I sit down as a child and I'm waiting, can I look at a wall and still be learning? Are there learning facilities all around? The different displays, they're teaching me quietly at my level and I understand. Does the lesson start promptly, on time? Is the teacher prepared? When the teacher starts the lesson, does she share or does he share the lesson objectives? By the end of the lesson, I'm expecting for you to be able to do A, B, C. I'm sure most of you will be able to do some, and then, and then you let them, you give a starter. Of course, it should hook their attention. And let's see, how was the starter? Was the starter relevant? Was it attention grabbing? And then we watch how the lesson transits. Are they seamless? Are the transitions seamless? Is there apparent subject knowledge? Is it shown by the teacher that he or she is an expert in this subject, in this topic? Has she or he prepared? And then, what about the activities? Is the teacher conscious that there's a variety of learners in the class? Has he or she prepared the activities for the visual learners, the auditory learners, the kinesthetic, the tactile? Is the lesson such that the high ability learner is stretched, something new is being learned? The average learner is not lost. And of course, the slower learner, the lower ability, is not struggling and totally left alone. At what point in the lesson does the teacher make time to ensure that the various levels of learners are being carried along, are being challenged? And then at the end, does the teacher do a conscious, does he or she ensure that the lesson objectives are reflected on by the learners? Intrinsic assessment of achieving lesson objectives is more effective. And then finally, does he or she make use of other adults in the class? Miss Lagbaja, could you please help me see to David? He seems to be struggling with that. Or Mr. Jack, could you please help me ensure that Shegun or Chinedu is focused, because he has a tendency to be short attention span. And if you're the only one in the class, do you keep on making sure that your eyes are on every learner? At one point or the other, you're on this learner, or your eyes are on this learner, they're on that learner. Are you watching your class even as you go around, as you're teaching? Avoid turning your back to the class. Thank God for interactive whiteboards in the schools that can afford it. It makes teaching easy, and you can still have eye contact with the learners. But for the schools that can't afford it, try ensuring, let's ensure, okay, I'm supposed to be the observer. I forgot, I'm not the teacher. Okay, is the teacher backing the children, marking the learners? Is he or she making conscious effort to ensure that he is keeping an eye, and they know that he or she is keeping an eye on them? At the end of it, has he or she achieved the lesson objectives? And then when you look at the lesson plan, and the children, okay, and then how are the children dismissed? Are they dismissed in a way that, is rowdy or orderly? And then the homework. Most teachers forget about the homework to the very end, and then they don't have enough time. It's not just about copying what the homework is. It's about explaining and possibly maybe giving an example that your homework is on page so and so of this textbook, and you know that you're supposed to be able to do this. So it's clear to the learner. You don't have parents calling you, sorry, your son said that you gave them homework. He doesn't quite understand. You won't have that situation if you have effectively explained what the homework is all about, and it should have a specific time for return. What time are they returning it? Where are they returning it to? Don't assume that they should know now. If it's a class rule, then you remind them. Don't forget that class rule says when you submit your homework, it's supposed to be here, through this person and all that. But it should be clear. And then you must feed back to the teacher. First of all, you need to ask the teacher, how did the teacher find the lesson? Most times teachers say, it went very well. It was very good. Because we seem to, sometimes we're delusional about what we do. In those cases where you don't have a CCTV in your school, maybe you should record the lesson that you are observing so that you can watch it together and then ask him or her if she or he is delusional about being very good at the lesson. What could the teacher have done better? What worked? Start with the positive. What did he or she do very well? What impressed you about the lesson? There must be something. Don't say, the lesson was totally terrible. Just like you don't want the teacher to say the child is terrible. There are strengths in everybody, so let the teacher know what he or she did well, and then go on to point out, let him or her tell you things they think they should have done better, and then how they're going to do it next time. This should be in the lesson plan, because I insist when I mark lesson plan that there should be a reflection that shows that, okay, this went well, but I should have done this. So the teacher is reflecting, the children are reflecting, and we're a reflective community. So this has been Olufunlayo Tubi talking about observing lessons, how to observe, what is being observed, and then the feedback, because it's not a witch hunting exercise. It's all about improving the quality of learning in your school. Have a beautiful week ahead. God bless you.